Greetings and salutations.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings. Welcome. Yes. High-class pollutant shenanigans here in Clubhouse.
Yeah, we should, have a whole fart noise mouth room. Yes, indeed. Did you get a chance to see Dune or no?
No, I'm going to watch it this week. I've heard it's good. I can't sit through the original. I saw something on Facebook today, and it was like, describe Dune in one sentence. It said a bunch of horny guys fighting over a planet full of cocaine.
That's one way to, yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
I had a coworker had me explain it because it's like, I was reading the books, and I remember I had a friend of mine in middle school. Now I'm dating myself. I had a friend of mine in middle school who had all the Dune books because the original author, I guess, had finished 6 books, and then he died.
Yeah.
Well, but anyway, he knew all about the Dune books. I'm like, why? What's so big about the spice? He says, because...
Wait, we're recording this, right, while we're talking?
Yes, we are recording. Welcome to Squares Roundtable episode...
I just want to make sure, because this is good stuff.
Yes, episode 170 of Squares Roundtable, live here on Clubhouse.
And if we actually had listeners, they might actually come by and actually want to hang out sometime.
Yeah. Ivan is tardy as usual. Maybe he'll join us. Maybe he won't.
We did start a little bit early.
So anyway, Dune. He was explaining to me. He was like, "Okay, what is up with the spice?" And it's because AI has been banned in this world because the artificial intelligences have tried to overthrow humanity, and we rebelled against it and beat AIs down. So AI is banned in this world because no important human decisions can be made by computers, which is why we need the spice in order to make these. People got to be high on this spice to calculate space travel, to travel around through space, which is why they say the spice is necessary for space travel because they can't rely on computers anymore. But anyway, I'm going to watch this film because it looks interesting, and I've heard it's better than the original Dune movie, which is boring as hell.
So as long as we're on this, because I did see it.
Okay.
So I did watch it, and like you, I saw it as a kid. I saw it when it came out.
I saw bits and pieces on cable.
Oh, you saw bits and pieces? Oh, no.
I never saw it in the theater.
Oh. So we got dragged, a bunch of 12-year-olds, to see this movie in the theater.
But you had expectations, or you just didn't want to see it at all?
I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But, how do I put this? It's parents. They see a sci-fi movie. They think, it's all like Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it's like, go watch the Star Wars.
Yeah, go watch the Star Wars. So, so we're watching this thing.
And it's why is Sting holding a knife? I thought this was the future.
And why is Sting pretty much naked? There's that one scene where literally Sting is wearing like a Speedo, and that's it.
He's sending out an SOS for clothes.
It was the King of Pain is what it was.
That's what Dune was.
There was. Well, that's the other problem. It's 3 hours long. It's 3 hours. Now imagine you're 12 and you're watching this thing. And it's 3 hours. And
I was 9 years old when my family dragged me to the theater to watch On Golden Pond.
Oh, well...
And I was like, oh, God, when is this over? I was too young to appreciate it.
Well, this is the part where you get angry with me. So I remember when I was a kid, and I can't remember what year it was, but I remember on Christmas break being in Florida with my family and insisting we needed to go see the first ever Star Trek motion picture.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. You mean Star Trek, the slow motion picture.
Oh, my God. That was horrible. That was just the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like, so anyway. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you caught, I made jokes. I'm like, where's Sting? How come he's not wearing no clothes? What's going on here?
Where's Captain Picard?
Where's the giant worms, which we eventually got giant worms? And then where's the people with the blue eyes? These are the only things I remember about this movie.
Yeah,
and it's 3 hours and it's bad. It was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, who cares? And so I remember, like, that was one of those movies that you get taken to as a kid, that it's like, here's what I remember. I remember being bored out of my skull waiting for this thing to end and trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And it was clearly not aimed at a kid, especially if they hadn't read, like...
Especially if you saw Star Wars, you're like, yeah, wow, excitement, wow, Masters.
Right, that kind of stuff.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
This is all like, that's a model ship.
I mean, Dune makes the original Star Trek movie look good. I mean, it really does. I mean, it's just... But and the funny part is I've only seen it once when I was, like, 13 or 12.
I could never sit through the whole thing watching it on cable.
Well, like I said, I was at the theater. I'm at the theater to see this thing. I don't even remember how I got there. I just remember going, this is... I remember sitting through it going, I will never, ever want to watch that movie ever again in my life. It is burned in my essence of being of things I never want to see again.
Okay. So, long story short, this new Dune is better?
Oh, by leaps and bounds, the biggest headache I have with it is, so, you know, like I said, I saw the original, okay? So I saw the original back when I was a kid. So I have a basic idea and remembrance of certain things, but not everything. And I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm sitting there watching the movie, and literally I'm like, okay, let's go while we're young. Like, literally I'm sitting there going, I'm thinking about it from the perspective, because, by the way, the movie's like over 2.5 hours long. Okay? So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go. You know, that kind of thing where, let's see how long this movie's going to be. Okay? I mean, this will be interesting. Let's see how they're going to get through this in 2.5 hours. Maybe they found a way to do it instead of 3. So I kind of expected them to get through everything that they did in the first version of the Dune movie. And the only time I realized that wasn't what the plan was about 15, 20 minutes left in the movie. Where literally I'm just sitting there going, you're not planning on finishing this story in this movie, are you?
Well, there's 7 books, right?
Well, but here's the problem. I don't recall anybody saying this is like book 1.
No.
Okay? Nobody said this is like, hey, guess what? This is book 1, okay?
Of the Dune series.
Of the Dune series. There was no advertising, and it was funny because I've heard some people who are like nerd geek types going, well, if you read shut up. Just shut up. No, there was no advertising making you think, hey, this isn't enough.
Dune 1 and The Prisoner of Azkaban, you know.
Right, or like, look, there's Lord of the Rings. When Lord of the Rings came out, they sat there and said, hey, we're going to make 3 movies. Here's what they are, okay? And you knew that there was going to be 3 movies. And this, look, even in the original Star Wars, they made a movie, but it had enough of a finite ending, and there was enough there to make you sit there and go, okay, cool. And then when the second one came out, you're like, oh, there's more. And I think the problem I had with it was, again, partially in my fault on assumptions, but I assumed that we were going to try to get through all the material that they got through like they did in the first movie, and that there was additional material for other movies down the road. Instead, what it seems like is they are setting themselves up for future movies, and it could take 3 movies to get where they got in one movie. So to me, I kind of, once that came into my brain. God, you guys this is awfully slow. You're telling us about this. Why do I care? You're telling about this. Why does it matter? You guys are not, how are you going to get through this movie? And it's like, oh, apparently your plan is not to get through everything. Well, all right, fine. If I was more aware of the fact that the plan was not to get through everything, I think I'd have been like, okay, sure, fine. But instead it very much is kind of along the lines of okay, yeah, okay, this is really part
setting
one.
up they're setting up for I can say this world building.
Yeah, world building. So yeah, I mean, to me, I think that's so. I feel like it was a little bit. That was the part where I felt bait and switch, and it's one of those where it's like the food was good, but you had like that bad taste in your mouth when it was over, that kind of thing. And so that was the part that kind of bothered me about this particular Dune. No question, the storytelling's better. No question, the cinematography better. The acting is good. All those pieces. The headache I had, like I said, was okay. Is all right. You've kind of set this up for this. I don't know. I mean, to me, it doesn't feel like. And maybe part of it is because I saw the original one. But it doesn't feel like...
You wanted a more of a resolution at the end.
Yeah. I don't feel like it ends with a real good... It has a finite ending point, but it doesn't feel... There's certainly no resolution. There's no resolution to it at all.
No, this is just placating to the fans of the books. This is... The Dune movie was the the Dune movie was for Hollywood, pretty much, and then this film was for the diehard fans of who read the books. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like they're just placating more towards the people who read the books.
So I think what's interesting about that concept or idea, Mike, is this. I think what the part again. I think and I feel like I'm going down the same road because I've heard some people talk about, well, yeah, this is more like the books and all that type of stuff. And I get where you're coming from on that, and I understand. And I think the thing that kind of makes me sit there and shake my head is, as of now, Mike, there is no green-lighted sequel. There is no green-lighted second movie. They're going to be incredibly. I kind of find it funny. The people who produced this movie were all upset about it being on HBO Max because they weren't going to make the kind of money that they could make box office. I got news for you. They should be really, really happy that this movie was on HBO Max. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I paid money to see this movie, I would not be happy. I'd not be happy, Mike. I just wouldn't. I'd be a little bit pissed that I spent money for a movie that I didn't realize wasn't going to get me a good enough resolute ending at the end. And that really this is part one of a longer series without really telling me this. Am I interested in a part two? Yeah, I am interested in a part two. I think they did enough to interest me in a part two. But that initial feeling of bait and switch bothers me, and they should be thankful because I have a feeling if this movie had just come out in the theaters, I don't know that the second week would have gone well.
Well, if we're talking about in a COVID-free world,
right?
So you're right, though. I mean, it seems like it's getting good write-ups. I don't know.
It's getting good reviews, but one of the things that's coming back is what I'm talking about. And it's funny because certain people are trying to justify it. And it's like, stop trying to justify the fact that there are people like us who are sitting there going, you kind of bait and switched us. And people are like, no, they didn't. Yeah, they did. And it's, I don't know. I think that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. What do you get out of 5? Yeah, mans.
Once I get past that, it's a pretty solid movie. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd give it I guess out of 5, I'd give it 3 and a half.
All right.
I mean, again, part of my problem is just, it's hard right now for me to judge the movie without feeling like I kind of got bait and switched a little on this. And the irony is I think because I've told you that it's a part 1, when you see it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, it was good. And I think that's the problem, Mike. My problem is that if I had kind of known that going in, I have a feeling my thoughts on it would be very, very different. But I think there's a lot of people who were not aware or aren't aware that was going to be the case. And I have a feeling that it had this just been pre-COVID or even current COVID, okay? Even if they had decided just to release this just in the movie theaters, I'm curious what a second week would look like.
But this movie's been done for a year, right? This was bound. They planned to have this out.
Yeah, technically, that was last year.
This must have been done, yeah.
Right. No, but exactly. And that to me is the thing that I think is interesting. Like I said, is I think what's going to ironically save them is the thing they bitched about the most. Is HBO is that there will be enough people who will have heard something good enough about this movie that will be willing to seek it out on HBO Max, and the numbers on HBO Max will help them to get the sequel that they want. Because ironically, when the sequel comes out, I don't think it, unless it's bad, it will not have the same buzz that this had, because of the fact that people will know it's a second part of a longer series. This was not something that was said about this particular movie, or let me rephrase that. It's weird because it's like, I knew there was a possibility for more movies. I think where I'm trying to go with is I thought they would get through what they got through in the 84 movie in the first movie, and they didn't. And I think a lot of people thought that that's what we were going to get on some level in this movie, and we didn't. And I think that there's more of those people than people think, and so we'll see. But you're right. I think that's where the fans of this the fans of the books, they're the ones who are going to be out there in the battlegrounds of, oh no, stop talking about our movie this way. And I've seen some of it already. I've seen some of it already where people are like, you just don't understand. It's like, no, I understand just fine. I understand just fine. You started with putting a bad taste in my mouth. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I saw Dune, and 2+ hours. There you go.
All right. Well, for 2.5 hours for a 3 out of 5 yeah-mans does not inspire confidence. So, but I don't know. I will still see it to judge for myself. If it was any good. I mean, I could not give it a try. And of course, in all honesty, I haven't gone back to it. So I'll give this one a try and see if it's good, because I've got people to work with.
Again, it's leaps and bounds above
the original film,
did. Right, of what they did in '84. I mean, that's without saying. Yeah. Again, I think again, if I had gone into this with realizing this is a book one, and that we're not going to get through everything that we got through in 1984 from the 1984 movie, I think my mentality on it would be different.
Okay.
And that's why it's like, how many would you give me? It's like, personally, I'm giving it 3. Really, in reality, if I had known better, I might go higher. So that's the answer to that. I think that's the best way I can answer that question.
Fair enough.
So, how dare I have expectations? What was I thinking? So, what about you? What you been up to? Watch anything? Do anything? I saw you did some gaming.
Yeah, we had a game night Saturday night because we usually play a spooky game. Our last game night before Halloween, we played the Dark Gothic deck building game. I forget the name of the studio that makes it, but I've talked about this game before here on the show, where the cards don't have art to them; they're just photographs of people pretty much like cosplaying.
Oh, nice!
Maybe. And it's not bad. It's a fun game. Like I said, it's a deck building game, and this is a cooperative version that we played. And yeah, it's fun. It was good. I guess it's you go from you build your deck and try and defeat more of these supervillains as they come up, and you have your trade row where you have to defeat the minions that come up and build your deck and get rid of your starter cards to strengthen your deck. And that's that kind of deck building game, which is pretty commonplace in our rotation. Speaking of which, Renegade Game Studios has sent me an email saying that, your Transformers deck building game has been delayed, so sorry, pretty much. The global shipping shortage or whatever. But they had airmailed a few to sell at Gen Con, which I wasn't there. But he got some extras left over, because I pre-ordered this in May. So, oh well. So it'll get here when it gets here. So, did a game night Saturday. That was fun. Had a good time. Sunday went to the Kane County Toy Show in St. Charles, and it was rainy. It sucked, but we still had a great time though. It's always fun to go and see. I had that board game as a kid, or I had that lunchbox, and this figure, toys from your childhood, you forget until you see the thing 30 plus years later. The Mego, there was a Mego Spider-Man helicopter, and it was garish, red and yellow. And I remember, I saw the box. I'm like, oh, my God. And, of course, because it's a box since from the 70s or early 80s, so they want, crazy amounts of money for it. But I was like, oh, but... Yeah, that's fun to do. Fun to go to that. I guess one person had the HasLab Sentinel. Did you hear about this?
No.
HasLab did a crowdfunding for a Sentinel. And it was to scale with the 1/12 scale Marvel Legends. And there are issues with the knees. It's this big 32-inch action figure can only hold so many poses because the knees are weak. So somebody was selling that. I didn't see any HasLab Unicrons or the first one, the HasLab from sailing barge, Jabba's sailing barge. Didn't see any of those. But it was busy though. It was assholes and elbows the whole night. Or the whole day on Sunday, because weather was nice on Saturday, but then it was, I guess everybody did their product, their projects or whatever on Saturday. So everyone was out Sunday. About half the people were masked, as usual. This was mostly indoors, but there's a couple of, some of the pavilions at the Kane County Fairgrounds are open air. So it's not quite outdoors if you count those big doors at either end being open. Tons of Funko Pops. I don't get it. I've talked about Funko Pops before.
I know.
And I don't get it. Hey, you like it, then congratulations. I'm glad you like them, but it's not for me.
I've never really... Yeah, I've never really got it either, but... No. People love them.
Yeah, because of Funko's got the licensing, and they make a Funko Pop of almost anything.
I think some of it is they're cute.
Yeah, that's some of it too. It's a little desk toy you could put on your desk at work and all that.
Or take it a step further, I wonder too, because it's kind of a little bit of that Japanimation kind of look. Yeah, that chibi,
those big heads and those dark, big black eyes.
I wonder if that has something to do with it too.
Maybe.
Because we're not. I mean, let's just be honest. We're not of the generation who grew up on, more of that style animation. And I know that millennials and Gen Z, a lot of what they grew up on was not kind of what we grew up on in terms of animation and look and style. And so, and when I say that, I don't even mean necessarily true Japanimation. I mean as in, like, for example, what's the one show off the top of my head with what's his name? The show with Goku.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball
I mean,
Z.
That's not even really real Japanimation. That's like,
well, it has a style to it, which is a lot like
style,
anime.
Yeah,
obviously.
or Yu-Gi, or like back in the day, Yu-Gi-Oh looked like that.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and the Sailor Moon, stuff you watch on Toonami,
right. Right, that kind of stuff where literally, there's an entire generation of kids who grew up on
anime.
Who grew up on that stuff, and they're good with it.
Yeah. But like I said, my friend, he bought a couple Funko Pops for his kid. Like I said, the licenses are everything. He got one for his kid wanted, of all things. It's a Funko Pop of a bag of Hostess powdered donuts with a smiley face on it. It's like an anthropomorphized bag of donuts. I was like, your kid wanted this? Like, okay.
Okay.
It's a bag of donuts. I mean, with arms and legs and a face on it. I'm like, okay.
Somebody's kid needs to get off the drugs. You can't eat those.
Yeah. And my other friend, you met Matt, and of course, he got a bunch of Hot Wheels, so he's good. So it was fun. We had a great time. And of course,
so what do you like? What do you say about like Hasbro and they make this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about Hasbro Pulse later.
Well, no, I mean, I guess here's my question.
Yeah.
So they get licenses and they get permission? Or is this unofficial stuff?
Funko. Oh, well, no, Funko, it gets the licenses for all these IPs.
Not Funko, but like, for example, like you said to me about like the Sentinel and stuff like that.
Yeah, HasLab, yeah. Well, Marvel, Hasbro has the rights to the Marvel Legends, the toy, the license from Marvel to do the toys, like the Marvel Legends, the 1/12 scale. The 6-inch figures that are everywhere.
Okay.
So they do Star Wars. Hasbro makes, the toys for Star Wars. They do the Black Series, which is those 6-inch figures from Star Wars.
Okay.
And Hasbro.
Oh, so HasLab is a...
HasLab was their crowdfunding projects.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
They need to crowdfund that shit?
It's more of a marketing plan,
You've got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. No.
They literally...
Hasbro has gone the crowdfunding way. So they won't... Until it's fully funded, when they get your money, then you get your toy a year and a half later.
Are you kidding me? That's bullshit.
A lot of people have called bullshit on some of the quality control and some of this stuff. Although I've not heard a lot of people complain about the sailing barge, the first one they did for the first HasLab project for Return of the Jedi. But these past ones, I mean, following as a backer of the HasLab Unicron and the the other ones they've done, the HasLab Sentinels come out, and I don't think the next one I think is the Razor Crest from Mandalorian. And they got some flack for that. I talked about this earlier on the show about how, like, while the crowdfunding was going on for the HasLab Razor Crest, they blew the ship up. And people got pissed that, the ship isn't going to be on the show anymore. And I've dropped $300 on this ship that's not going to be on the show anymore.
See, to me, that's just insane.
Yeah.
To me, the whole idea
that Hasbro, a multi-million-dollar company, probably in the B's, has to crowdfund these projects.
Right. Well, that's the part that's crazy. Yeah. And then to top it off, this is the bean counters. This is the bean counters. Because think about it. It's okay. We put out a concept for a toy that we think collectors are going to love, okay? We set a price. we figure out the design, we figure out how much it's going to cost us, all this stuff. We set a price, okay? And then we have to hit a certain number to make this toy.
Yeah.
Okay? We have to hit a certain number of people to make this toy. And the irony is that it's going to be an exclusive, and these are the only people who technically are going to get this toy, in theory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is some rackety ass shit right there.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people saying that. Yeah, about the HasLab.
Well,
yeah.
And the other thing that's interesting to me is, okay, so it's a year from when they complete getting enough people to buy to make it.
After they have like 45 days or whatever to have the project fully funded. And then once it's funded, once they get all the people's money who want to fund the project, then the project goes into full production. And then you'll get your toy a year and a half from now.
So let me wow, year and a half.
Yeah, that's how long we had to wait for Unicron.
Wow. Well, how much of that was COVID though?
Exactly, some of it was, but it was still promised in the first quarter of 2021, and I got mine in May. So it's not as close.
Wow.
Mid-May.
Wow, so. Really? And so how many... Okay, so here's my next question. How many people did they need to buy a Unicron to make that happen?
Initially 5,000, or I forget how many. I had to look that project up, but there was a time where the project might not have looked like it had gotten funded because that a unique situation with the Transformers toy fandom is that Hasbro has allowed all these third-party companies to exist, whereas with with Bandai, who owns the rights to Gundam, Bandai keeps a tight lid on their IP. Where if they know that if they can find a factory in China that's making these knockoff Gundams, they will have the police raid the place and have it shut down. But I think Hasbro's tightened their grip a little bit on that in the last couple of years, especially with COVID and how factories are getting shut down in China, especially smaller ones, so it's hard for them to get stuff up. But anyway, Hasbro has a lot of competition from third-party companies who making unlicensed third-party figures, of which I own many because there are gaps in the Masterpiece line. I mean, you want to have the whole cast, all 11 Autobot cars, but Hasbro has only made like 7. So if you want to have your complete set, you'll have to go a third-party option to get some of the ones they haven't done yet. Because of all the years and years and years it takes, and who knows if it ever gets made. So anyway, Hasbro has the unique problem of not many other toy lines have this issue where there's a massive third-party option with that fandom. And a couple guys there at the Kane County Show were selling some third-party stuff. Not much, but a lot of it's all vintage. That the collectors think it's gold. Like the deals in that place was few and far between.
Okay.
But anyway, the HasLab...
So let me ask you a question,
yeah.
out of curiosity. So let's say that project hadn't gotten funded. What happens to your money?
It doesn't get... they don't take it.
Oh, okay.
Like, you commit to this project, and then once the time is up, if it's 45 days to fund the project, and if it's funded, hooray, they'll bill you.
See, the interesting part about 45 days... to me is this. That's long enough for Hasbro to get the interest on your money.
A year and a half is too.
Right.
No, let's see. Well, the 45-day period, your money, your card isn't charged until the project is over.
Got it. But even so, like a year and a half. Okay. So now we're sitting.
So you have to be sure your money's in your bank account in time for when time's up and the project's
really
funded.
That's really something too, where it's like, oh, okay, God forbid it's the wrong time of the.
Which is why it's 45 days, which is in overlaps within one maybe 2 billing cycles or 2 monthly billing cycles.
But yeah, so they do it for a year. They get 5,000 people. If they're paying $300, like you just said, Okay, they're nickel and diming. They're nickel and diming, and they're using the interest to actually make some extra money and make an extra profit on this. And that's
the goal. That's they wouldn't do it if they're not making money doing it.
Let me tell you something. That's Hasbro in a nutshell, too. That is totally Hasbro. When I got, I got a little bit of an inkling of what they do and how they do it when they owned Gen Con and Origins, and none of that surprises me.
No.
They really, don't get me wrong.
Ivan's here.
Hi, Ivan. But
welcome.
Yeah, it's funny to me. To me, it's funny, Mike, because it's like they're a legit company, but they do some stuff that it's just like, hey, what are you gonna do? We're Hasbro.
Jump in. Say hey.
Yeah. Hi, Julie.
Oh, hi. I didn't know it was on. Hi.
Howdy.
Yes. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
We can play the high game. Hi.
Low.
Hello.
High and low.
Hi, you're on the air. You're in the air.
Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, you're in the air.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. Come back and pick you up later.
6 minutes past the hour.
Which hour?
The hour.
Oh.
The hour of our discontent. Now is the hour of our discontent.
Oh.
Kane County was fun. Had a great time.
Did you buy anything? Or
no? I got a couple things. I got a couple more of the Marvel comics, the Transformers series. I'm slowly completing my 80 issue.
Too.
Yeah, some people had comics, and if you had the time to sit and sift through the comic boxes, but it's not really the comics game there. It's all about the toys.
Do they not? Wait, does Marvel not have a trade?
No,
those?
Marvel didn't do a trade of the original 80-issue run of the Marvel comics. They have trades. They have trades from some of the later UK comics that came out exclusively in the United Kingdom after the Transformers series ended here in the States. So I got a couple issues of that. Found an old Walther P-38. It was a dart gun, but it's from 1985, so it looks like a real ass gun. But I guess I had to do some research when I got home, and it turns out it was from that show V. It was a dart gun from that show V, and it's pretty much a real looking Walther pistol with a bunch of darts. And maybe a paper target of the lizard, like the dude with the lizard, the human face ripped off with just a lizard face there. So it's like one of your, and of course it was rebranded for Rambo, but why would Rambo use a German pistol? But it's funny. It's funny that
they rebranded it for Rambo.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
because Rambo uses a dart gun.
Yeah, I'm coming to get you, Murdoch. Well, there was a time where they had a Rambo cartoon,
Did they really?
Yeah, they had a Rambo cartoon.
I must have.
Yeah, I think it ran for one season.
Yeah, because of there was an uprising from that we had. Yeah, there was even a RoboCop cartoon. We had lots of kids cartoons based on R-rated movies back in the 80s.
Well, back in the 80s, that seemed to be the trend. You know, you got the movie, you had the cartoon, you tie in the merchandising. They buy the toys.
That's right.
They had the whole situation happen.
That whole situation, you're right.
Yeah.
So I found that, and I got another one of my little green helicopters, which is cool. It's nice to find that. And what else? Got another Hot Wheels 66 Batmobile. So
nice.
I might open this one up. I got a few hanging on my wall here behind my monitor, all my Batman stuff. Which reminds me, the McFarlane line is releasing their 66 Batman. So that's starting to show up at stores. So I'm gonna have to find some real estate for that.
Already seen some of the proofs, and they're very articulate. They're
well sculpted, which is good for McFarlane.
Well sculpted.
That's McFarlane's game is sculpt. It's not really articulation. Same thing with NECA.
Well, yeah. Well, what I mean in the sculptures, you can see the that are in meticulous details. That are in the art.
Well, I mean, that's McFarlane. You know, McFarlane really it's kind of funny because, you know, in these days, McFarlane does more on the toys than he does on the comics these days.
Yeah, we talked about McFarlane. You talked about him. Maybe you should do a Spider-Man comic again someday. But
it won't happen. Though.
No. But yeah, it was fun. Like I said,
it'll never happen.
No. Yeah. But it was a fun show, and found out, talked this last week, but my coworker found out he went to Wizard World, and he's a big Star Wars guy, and there was lots of Star Wars there and lots of Black Series, so he's going to go to the next one in April. He's like,
there's one in April?
Yeah, this is 2 times a year, and it's down in St. Charles. It's like one of the biggest toy shows in the Midwest because there's.
I thought you said Wizard World was.
Oh, Wizard World. He was there last week, but no, I wasn't.
What were the numbers looking like at Wizard World? Did he say it was crowded, or what did he say?
He said he went Friday, so he didn't go over the weekend because he said it wasn't too crowded. But he said it was a pretty decent crowd on Friday.
Okay.
So yeah, me and him were talking, and then we went to the manager, and he was like, "There's the next one. I'm going to the one in April." I was like, yeah, it's cool. So, bonding with my fellow coworker nerd. But yeah, they had a good week. Otherwise, just been busy Saturday because the weather was nice. So you'd think winter was tomorrow. Everyone out buying melting salt and snow shovels and asking questions about snowblowers. I'm like, brace yourselves, winter's coming.
Well, yeah,
that's what the guy from Game of Thrones said.
I was gonna say, not the HBO kind.
No, not the dragons thing.
Or whatever the hell that is.
No, I didn't watch much here this week. I wanted to watch more episodes of I did watch Toy Story of Terror because I wanted to get in the mood for Halloween. So I watched that. That was always fun to do with the Combat Carl never gives up. Combat Carl finds a way. Watch that.
Yeah, I did a little DVD rewind my own self this week.
Okay.
And revisited the Batman series, which
one?
I think it was the one. It was the one from the 2000s. I want to say.
Oh, it's called The Batman?
It was called The Batman.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing that in little bits and pieces here.
Yeah,
I think it was on at about the same time the Batman Brave and the Bold was on, which was a little more whimsical.
No, it's a different series, Mike.
Okay.
In this Batman series, the Batman series, it seems like many of the classic villains went through a kind of character rebuild. Basically, the Joker was was way over the top, crazy looking with the hair and the large yellow teeth.
Yeah, some liberties with it, yeah.
Yeah, they.
In fairness, it wasn't that far. It wasn't that far because I remember watching this show. It's not that far after all the WB stuff ended with a lot of the, between.
What, the Nolanverse?
No, not the Nolan. Well, the problem is it's not really Nolanverse.
It wasn't after. Was it after the Nolans?
It was after the Nolans, but it didn't take up much of the Nolan stuff. Right. It was kind of weird because it's really clear they wanted to differentiate themselves from the 90s Batman.
Yeah, they wanted to make it obviously different from TAS. Yeah.
Right. And when you look at the characters and the villainous characters and the different designs that they used for the series.
No, this was okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So what happened in this case was, Batman had kind of not too much, kind of strong, silent type. Okay, Chief O'Hara is long gone, and of course they have 2 other police characters that take the place of like Chief O'Hara and
they don't really use Chief O'Hara.
Okay, in this one, the Batman, this is from 2004 to 2008.
Right.
That was before. Right. This is before the Nolan films.
Oh, is it? Okay. I remember watching it on WB Network. I remember it being a TV rather on TV.
Yeah. It was a television. Yeah, it was a television.
Before. It was a younger Bruce Wayne.
Right, and
the animation isn't bad.
No.
The animation's actually pretty good.
The animation is really very well done. They kind of followed the same type of they followed the same type of flow in the animation like the previous Batman product they did when AOL, was with Time Warner at the time, and they were doing all those series back then. And again, like I said, you have Penguin who has surprisingly extraordinary powers for, and of course they went back to his original name, Copperpot.
Oswald Copperpot, yeah.
Cobblepot,
yeah.
Cobblepot. And, and then of course Mr. Freeze had an entirely different type of a look with a self-contained freezing unit around his head, and Catwoman, they kind of touched upon the whole sexual tension between Catwoman and Batman throughout parts of the series. In that series, the whole neutral good evil type of thing with Catwoman, and and the fact that I didn't miss any of the upper management as far as the cops were concerned. They kept it down to like the agents. Even Patrick Warburton had a voice role in one of the episodes. It was really cool. Yeah, he came out as a detective by the name of Cash.
Hey, I'm a detective.
Well, and he kept, and of course he kept spouting out the old.
Ivan,
yes.
Actually, it's funny that character that you're talking about. If it's I can't remember the exact name. That might be that character that was an old school Batman detective long ago that they weren't using, that they
do you think they just kind of brought back and advanced them up in the series?
Well, it's funny. They brought him back at some point in the comics as kind of a character to play off of Catwoman. But to your point, it should be. My guess is what you probably got to was some Harvey Dent. You probably got some Montoya. It's funny because you say about Chief O'Hare. Chief O'Hare pretty much disappears.
Out of that whole series. From the two.
Yeah,
he's not at all there.
When the 66 show ends, he's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they never have ever used him anywhere else.
Yeah, they
never.
I don't think they used them as much in the 2000s as they may have touched upon it maybe in the 90s Batman.
No, they didn't even use it there either.
We're talking like the Birds of Prey, and all those type of episodes.
I don't remember them ever name dropping Chief O'Hara in TAS.
No. Right, no.
Oh, okay, well, all right. If like it says, you watch so many cartoons and sometimes they all, they get mixed in a little bit. But the ones I was watching though was from, like Mike said, the 204 to the 04 to the 08 series, and I watched season 1 and 2 of that, and then I revisited Teen Titans, the Teen Titans from 2003 to 2007, which I'm sorry, hands down for me, that to me will always be the Teen Titans I'll always go back to. And
you really want to plant your flag there, huh?
Well, okay, all right. When you get the original Teen Titan books, the comic books and such, and then when they recreated it for television, and when you got Andre Romano with the voice actors coming in on the whole thing, which pretty much they built the characters around the voices, which was a pretty intelligent move. And then the fact that they made them as individualistic as I would say any set of Teen Titans that were featured, in that animated stories. Yeah, Teen Titans Go. Yeah, all right, yeah, they, the super deformed, downsized, and, dumbed down whole situation there. Yeah, might be good for some people, but for me, this is a series me and Soraya grew up on, and, I just having to sit there and actually sit and study and watch the films, without any type of interruption, and then just finding things that I missed in the initial viewings of the films. And I just think to myself, man, yeah, okay, so, Beast Boy was recalibrated from Changeling. Let's see, you had, Cyborg was part of the original comic book line, okay, and then of course, this is Starfire.
Right,
then,
I mean, so here's the thing on here's the thing on the original, on that series, which is my headache. I'll start with my headache. My headache is that after the Justice League stuff was over, this was their next move, and instead of making it like Justice League, they decided that they were going to aim it at kids. And it worked for them. It worked for them for what they did, but it alienated people like me who wanted to see them get similar treatment to the Justice League. That said, at least they had all the characters right for the most part, with the exception of the fact that they did not have Wonder Girl. With the exception of the fact that they did not have Wonder Girl. Other than that, they pretty much had, and they didn't have Kid Flash. Other than that, it was pretty much the main characters.
Right. I mean, and then of course, you had Aqualad, who makes his way in the series later on. Then you have Monster Menos, which of course to me, I think that was just total comic relief when they came out with Monster Menos. When they came out with some of the other, I guess I don't like using, tier B or from tier A, type of situation, but as
we saw, did Blue Beetle ever make an appearance in that series?
In that show, no.
No, on that show, no.
He did not. On that series, no. What you're thinking about, Mike, is that Judas Contract.
Yeah, the Judas Contract, right?
Which was which, by the way, also pissed me off because it didn't have all the right characters, and they had Blue Beetle and they had a couple other characters, and I'm like, why can't you just give us the right characters for Judas Contract after this was supposed to be the second movie you guys made of your animated, and then you blew it off for a decade, and then finally decided to make it, and it's like,
so it just
stop.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is, okay, and yeah, I'm hanging my hat on this bunch of Teen Titans for the fact that, okay, again, not being as geeky on
it's not about geeky. It's not about geeky. They decided that they were going to use Teen Titans to basically go after a younger demographic.
Yeah, but the show eventually still had some meat on its bones, some good storytelling.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh, but it did. It did. It had some wonderful. It had some wonderful arcs.
Well,
Apprentice, where you have Robin going up against the mad mind of Slade, which was a great story arc in that particular situation. And then
they did. I don't know if you're aware. Marv Wolfman wrote a lot for that series.
Well, yes, I know. Yes, he wrote. Well, basically, it was from the original creators, and then you had Perez, who also was in on the whole situation when it came.
No, Perez was not nearly as in on it as Wolfman. Wolfman actually wrote episodes. Perez was around, but they certainly didn't use Perez's artwork.
No, they didn't. They didn't go with Perez's artwork because I think the initial situation with the Teen Titans was that they wanted. I mean, I don't know if it was as much going for a younger demographic. But
without question.
Well, I'm not saying that's not the only reason. I feel is just for the younger demographic, but I think they wanted to step away from the form for which they were created and try to make an alternate animated form for these particular characters, I guess. And I said,
they specifically talked about, I remember doing a lot of reading on this at the time because they specifically did not. One of the problems that they had with Justice League back in the day was that what they found was the audience that they got for Justice League on Cartoon Network was not the audience that they thought they were going to get. The audience they ended up getting for Justice League, ironically, was all adults who wanted that kind of show. While they wanted something that was going to specifically get kids back, was going to get
get kids back to Cartoon Network.
So they specifically did what they did with the Titan show because they wanted to get kids like Soraya to watch the show, and they were successful in that way.
Well, and the thing I liked about it was, okay, when you got a guy like me who hasn't read his fair share of comic books and follow certain series, but when you have a daughter and your daughter, when you're sharing things like off of Disney Channel, like things like Kim Possible and things like that, and then you get Disney Max where they start showing and then some of the superhero stuff that they were doing, and then when you go to Cartoon Network, and that was our go-to when we were watching the Teen Titans and everything. And so, see, for me, and then of course watching them now, here it is, almost a decade and a half later, and I'm watching it, and I still find the series still as sharp, still as action-packed, still as exciting, still as engaging as I did when I first saw it back in the early 2000s, which, in other words, for me, the Titans, had staying power, for a guy like me, and, who doesn't know of all the sub-stories and the multiple arcs and the multiple, dialogues and, stories.
From not having read the original comics, right?
Not having read the original comics, going in pretty much blind into it, but and you do end up liking the characters even though they're cartoons. You end up you can associate with them because they have a lot of similarities to that of a lot of young people, and the fact that they didn't go like for preteen, like from 12 down. No, I mean they actually kind of kept it right up around, like the 17 to 13-year-olds maybe, and then of course.
No, they really did aim it. Well, initially, they aimed it a lot younger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because I watched it from episode 1, and they came out blasting, and
there are drastic differences in the animation style.
Which is a lot. Absolutely.
They went with a more anime kind of feel to it.
Yeah, and I think it was called a Marinade or some kind of crazy
Marinade. A good marinade over it will give it a good flavor.
Marinade over Alfred, yeah. But I don't know. They had some stupid word when I was watching the bonus reel and everything. They had some word that had anime and America, some bullshit name that they came up with. And so, so I'm just thinking, it's got
lemonade?
Well, I don't know about lemonade, but but all I know is that when you got a cross between, and it seemed a very common thing in the 2002 to kind of cross the worlds of American animation.
Right. Because at the time, you've got Dragon Ball Z, and we were talking about that earlier in the show, where you've got a younger generation who are watching anime, so they want to influence Western animation like that.
Right.
Right. Well, they did that with the last.
The theme song was literally.
Yeah.
Well, the theme song
Shonen Knife.
In Japanese.
Yeah. No, that was Puffy Amiyumi.
Okay, not Shonen Knife.
No. The Teen Titans was Puffy Amiyumi.
Whatever.
Okay.
No. Whatever.
No.
I don't know what the.
Go ahead, check it out. Puffy Amiyumi.
All I know is it was not in English.
Well, no. I mean, the vast majority of them, you have the English Puffy Amiyumi when they did it, and then in certain episodes they would drop in the Japanese.
It was Puffy Amiyumi. Yeah,
you know, and that was the short time that Puffy Amiyumi was a thing in air quotes. And I think part of the deal was that I guess they made an agreement with Cartoon Network that if they were going to the show, and I guess the people at Cartoon Network said, well, yeah, wouldn't it be a novel idea to have an actual Puffy Amiyumi show? Which, yeah,
it didn't last long. Yeah,
no, I took a couple of. I took a couple of ganders at it, and it was just like, okay, and it was a hint of Cartoon Network, well, Cartoon Network was going to become, because it had that, you know.
Yeah, they've already established Toonami bringing Japanese shows over
right
at that time, so
they were just trying to go ahead and try to line up with an already established thing that they were doing. And then, you know, you had The Last Airbender, and which was also, you know, American animation.
Well, yeah, it's a Western. It's a studio with anime tendencies.
Right. So, and so, you know,
or translation all the time that I basically stopped watching Cartoon Network.
Well, and when then when, you know, the series ended with, you know, I went 5 seasons, which was pretty solid 5 seasons for the Teen Titans, and then of course they had the movie, which I think pretty much, you know, capped it off as a finale, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, a lot of shows had that.
And the fact that they had gone back to do an actual theme song for a cartoon, much in the way of like Spider-Man, you know, Spider-Man. I mean, you have these catchy little hooks, you know, in these animated cartoons, especially superhero animated cartoons. You had the Spider-Man, and then of course here it is. You got Puffy Amiyumi years later, and it's like, oh wow, you know, and you're just like, yeah, okay, you know, and it's like something that hadn't been done in a long time. I mean, you think of Batman, you think of 1966, you go to, you know, the Bat theme, you know, and all that, and you're just like, it's one of those things that hadn't been done for many, many years by the time Teen Titans came to the fore.
Someone's calling you, Ivan.
The Ice Cream Man.
No, actually, they're calling
Slade.
Yeah.
The Ice Cream Man. Throw down some money. The Ice Cream Man is coming.
You would have made a great apprentice, Robin. But of course, I can't give you all my secrets.
If you say so.
Yeah. Well, you know.
If you say so. I do.
I love the fact that they had some solid story in that Teen Titans series, which, you know, kept me, you know, wanting to see what was going to happen next. Which, yeah, most of them were really good. Some of them were kind of silly. Okay, you know, Mad Mod, which, you know, was kind of a stretch, but I think that was more of
Mad Mod was a real legitimate villain, though.
Pardon me?
Mad Mod was a legit villain from the 60s.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or the 70s. Was it the 60s or the 70s Titans? Not the original. Not the 60s. Not the Wolfman Perez 80s and beyond Titans. The earlier version that got.
No, you're talking the late 60s now with that particular. And,
I know the one guy with the TV. The one who was the TV villain was ironic. What's his name? They eventually brought him over and actually made him a legit.
Yeah, they did. They made him a legit villain in that series, which then also.
No, I mean even in the comics they brought him over.
Well, there you go. Well, you know, which, you know, a good villain, you know, is always a viable thing, whether you put it on page or you put it on film. But yeah, and so, you know, with that, you know, and the fact that they went with the approach of, oh, we're going to design and write for the voices instead of having it the other way around, where they're just writing and then here you go, guys, you know, make it come to life on the page, and having both the voice actors and the writers actually working really hand in hand and kind of fleshing out the characters. I mean, yeah, you know what, and you know, you do get pissed off at Robin because sometimes he could be cold, sometimes he could be ignorant, sometimes he could be callous and such. Okay, and you got Beast Boy who just he tries much too hard to be accepted and much too hard to be funny to try because he's insecure in his skin, because here it is, he can be any animal he wants, but he's not secure in that. He's not sure he's that superhero guy. Oh yeah, I could change into any animal I want. Okay, yeah. So what? And then you got Raven, who, the goth people everywhere were raising their hands and salute to the whole thing when Raven came in. With her, hi, okay, yeah, my dad is from hell, and that's what he gives me, and I have to try to contain this in my character in order not to kill anybody. Okay, then you have
It's not exactly from hell.
Well, he's not. He's from a place that's hell-like. Okay,
Not exactly from hell.
Well, but he's hell-like. He's a hellion. Yeah. So
not exactly a hellion.
Well, you know what? He was a bad fucking dude.
Right. He's an intergalactic demon, but yeah.
Well, yeah, however you slice it, he was a bad fucking dude. And then of course, you got Starfire, which, totally.
That was that period where they de-boobed her in every comic book.
I'm sorry?
They de-boobed her in every comic book in the 2000s because of that show.
Well, all I know.
Because parents were going and buying comic books with Starfire in it, going, why is she so boob? Why does she have why are her boobs so big? So they de-boobed her for a period of time.
Okay, but in the animation, she was full-figured, shapely, attractive for an alien
she's got
girl.
No boobs.
Yes, she does.
No, she doesn't.
Not in the way she's drawn in this Teen Titans cartoon.
No, not in this Teen Titan, but the Teen Titan cartoon that I watched, the one that I watched.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah, way.
Not compared to her earlier incarnations in the comics.
Yeah, well,
close.
What do you mean? Okay, I know that in the comics, lots of cleavage. Yeah, I get it. Okay, as far as what they did with the cartoon, she still has a full bosom. It's covered up, but she still has a full bosom. She's not flat-chested.
She's flat-chested in comparison.
Well,
in comparison, she's flat-chested. She goes from double D's to an A or a B.
Nah, I want to say 36. I want to say 36. At least a C.
No way.
Yeah, way.
No.
Between her and Raven, yeah, ample bosom. Anything more than a handful's a waste. So anyway,
that's not the point. I'm talking about what the differences in the animation look.
Well, I'm talking about
what you feel is a handful. I'm talking about what the differences were and what they look like in terms of what the initial animations,
and I'm agreeing with you. And I am agreeing with you that in the comic books they were huge.
Right.
Okay, but then of course she was also 6.5, 7 feet fucking tall.
No, she's not. She's not that tall.
She was tall.
She's not.
She's taller than Dick Grayson.
She was tall.
She's not 7 feet tall.
No, she's not.
Well, okay. Okay, well, I got a.
What do you got, Ivan?
I got a Teen Titans picture that I used to hang in Soraya's room. I'm going to take it. I'm going to photograph it, and I'm going to send it to you.
Well, don't worry. The internet provides plenty of pictures. Don't type in Rule 34.
No, I'm not typing in Rule 34, because if you type in Rule 34, she's going to have nothing on the top, and she's going to have green titties, for God's sake. Come on. So anyway, all I know is, put it this way. For me, the animated aesthetic of the Teen Titans from 2003 to 2007, for me, sets a precedent for someone like me. Okay, granted, like I said, I didn't read the comic books previously, I only saw it as how I saw it, so that's what
right.
I've been.
You're exactly who Warner Brothers wanted to watch it.
Well,
that is exactly you were exactly the audience that they wanted. They wanted wanted Soraya, and maybe they wanted Soraya's parents, but they didn't want anybody who wasn't one of those two audiences. They weren't interested in any other audiences.
They did not placate to the people who read the original books.
Well,
right.
no, they didn't. Well, no, and that's not what they were going for anyway when they created the series. They weren't
right.
You're right.
They weren't going for that aesthetic at all. I mean, they just wanted to.
And that's the part that annoyed the hell out of
a lot of the people. Out of a lot of people that.
And we never got a crossover between them and Justice League.
Well, yeah, you were never going to get one.
Well, that the likelihood of that is like me changing a shade. All I know is that you had a better shot.
You had a better shot of that short-lived Legion series that should have gotten more episodes from WB crossing over with Justice League than any of it. So by the way, that show was vastly underrated. And I'm surprised it didn't get more play. Was that Legion cartoon from? I think it was around that time frame too. Because you gotta, back then, there wasn't the large clamoring for as much content then as it is now. So who knows? Maybe along the line, maybe somebody will resurrect it. Who knows? Nobody's looking to resurrect that thing. What's funny though? I am curious now to go look on HBO Max to see if that's an option of something I can watch. But no, they're not looking to resurrect it. If anything, they're doing other things. I mean, like for example, for them right now, it's funny when you say that because they right now where they're at on animated projects that are going certain places for DC. They're not making animation for guys like you and me anymore.
Yes, well, they're doing Young Justice.
Young Justice is absolutely brilliant.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. Okay. So you got one instance.
And
where
that new Batman cartoon. That new Batman cartoon that's coming. It's going to be more. It's going to be more. I mean, the new Batman. The one after Sparkly Batman is going to be more adult. And my problem is here's what I can say, because I can't say much more than this because I have privileged information for once.
Super secret inside sources.
I do. I actually have super secret inside sources for this one, and because I know who they have not named the executive producer, but I know who the executive producer is, and I am super excited. Okay, so are we going to get a Batman that's slathered in darkness like Gotham or Arkham? I don't know fully yet. I just know that this version is going to play more towards. I know they're going more. I wouldn't say exactly like that Spawn from the 90s, but they're going that direction. Darkness. They're going in that direction. On top of more darkness. I don't think it'll. In fairness, here's the one thing I can say about it. Based on who the executive producer is, I expect the episodes to be meaty, and I expect the episodes to be smart, and I expect the episodes to really bring in some of the crime and true detective possibilities of Batman. Okay, and okay. As far as this new Batman and everything, are they gonna play upon some of the old tired dialogues of a sidekick or? I can't answer any of that, Ivan. I don't know enough. Oh, okay. Well, all I'm saying I don't know enough. I know is. Okay. So all I know is I know who the executive producer is. I'm not allowed to say it because it'll get me in trouble.
Okay.
But I will say, I'm incredibly excited about who it is.
All right. Well, given that, I'll be waiting with anticipation of this new Batman.
It's gonna be a little while because it's gonna be a little while because they are, obviously
they haven't announced it officially. So.
Oh, so basically it's still in the works. Is that what we're saying?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, they I think they announced that there is a new cartoon coming, but they haven't announced a lot of details on it.
And they haven't released any stills or any teaser
they
footage.
Haven't gotten that far.
No rushes yet.
No, they haven't gotten that far. No. They're not even close to that far. Like I said, they haven't even officially announced who the executive producer is, but I know who it is, and I'm, like I said, that I'm saying even this much here in an open space. I gotta leave it where I've got it. I can't.
No. Well, then let's not put you there.
Let me say this.
I can't say more, but let me say this.
Right. Well, the point being is, when we're off air and we're at a clubhouse and I know there's nobody around.
Oh, then you can.
Then I can tell you.
Okay.
Who they're bringing in. And
okay.
I'll say this, Ivan. You probably won't know the name Mike Will.
Well, who knows? I might surprise you.
Maybe.
I'm gonna err to the thought that Mike will know the name more than you will.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, it's funny you say that because I did see the new Young Justice this week, and
did they drop all of season 4, or are they dropping it one a week?
No, they're dropping. So they dropped the first 2 episodes
during Fandom.
And now, they dropped the first 2 episodes on Fandom, and now they're dropping 1 a week.
Okay, cool.
So they're doing the exact same thing with that they've been doing with the live-action Titans and Doom Patrol, which is they're dropping 1 a week from here on in. It's a little frustrating, but okay. Especially because those are half hours versus the full on, hour pieces that, so it's like, okay. But they're a solid watch. They really are. Again, it's kind of interesting to me because they're starting out the season, at least so far, they've really kind of been keeping it to Beast Boy, Ms. Martian, and Superboy. I don't want to say much more in case one of you guys is going to watch it, because they're. Well, I think I can say this, which is we do Legion. The Legion of Superheroes is involved as well too.
Yeah, because wasn't it? I've been following this show incidentally, just like through YouTube clips and hearsay whatnot. So I guess the Justice League is split at this point. Or are there several members have defected from the Justice League?
And gone on their own?
Not necessarily. I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's really funny because...
There was an episode where, like, Batman pulled some shit, and some people, like, left in protest.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
I remember that. So at one point
there was an exodus, yeah.
There was an exodus. It was kind of like an outside.
Right.
It's kind of like when Batman... See, it's interesting. That's kind of what happened back in the day in the 80s that formed Batman and the Outsiders that eventually got us the Outsiders comic book. And eventually, like, introduced characters like Halo and Katana, and gave a bigger role for Metamorpho, as well as Black Lightning. They were original members of that, and Geoforce, which is Terra's sister from the Titans. All of those were characters that were within that Outsiders brand. And it's funny, they have kind of moved in that direction, but they've made some twists and turns to some of that stuff. But I think Batman is back with the Justice League. Again, I will say this with Young Justice. I feel it's one of the few shows where it's like, you might have to go back and watch a few episodes in season 3 to remember any of the continuity from the season 4. But it is impressive in that way. because they build their own continuity. It's kind of, they bring in a lot of characters, and they certainly seem to be more friendly to what's going on in the comics than anybody else. And my understanding is that, again, Warner Brothers is saying, depending on how it's received by them, is whether or not they'll do a season 5. But my guess is they'll get one.
All right, cool.
So I like I said, that was, as long as we're talking about animation. But yeah, that's been solid.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that Injustice, but I've not been able to rent it because I don't want to pay $20 for a DVD. And I think it's a sidebar. I think I've given up watching. I've given up buying DVDs, but I wanted to rent it, and I couldn't. It's not available for rent until next week. Because I don't want to pay $20 and I'm going to watch it once, maybe twice.
Is it on Max or no? Is it on
I know it's out on iTunes and it's out on DVD. So I was just going to rent it on iTunes and would watch it one night. But I don't know if they're going to encapsulate how many years did Injustice go in the comics, and then they encapsulated it in the video game, and then they're going to encapsulate it even more in this 2-hour film. It's
I don't know.
What's going to get left out, what's going to be highlighted, and what. But it does look interesting. So I'm going to watch it hopefully next week when I can.
That's
be
the
able
one
to rent
thing
it and get time.
I will say to you, Mike.
But those one-off DC animated films are not. I'm liking most of them.
See, to me, Mike, that's where I think you'd love HBO Max, is the fact that all of that stuff gets dumped into there, and it's just a giant reservoir of all of that stuff that you can look at and check out.
Yeah,
that's available, and all of it's there for you to look at. And I mean, I haven't even gotten to even close to making a dent in, Hush is there.
Gotham by Gaslight was good.
Right. I mean, all that stuff is there. I haven't even touched some of that stuff. Like there's a Deathstroke movie in there that I never got to. That Ray series from CW Seed is there, and it's available, and I haven't gotten around to it. There's a bunch of stuff. It's just a matter of.
Yeah, I was talking to Chef Bill last night, Friday. We got dinner Friday. We hung out, and I was talking about how Disney Plus is raising their rent $10. We talked about this last week, and so he's all like, okay. And we finished Lower Decks, so I canceled Paramount Plus. But I said, but he's like, well, season 4 of Discovery's coming. So I'm like, and then next year is the Strange New Worlds and the other stuff that's coming from Paramount Plus, the Star Trek stuff I want to watch. So he's all like, all right, I'll get Paramount Plus. You keep Disney Plus. And so you're like, okay. So we shook on it.
Well, I told you a while ago, if there's certain ones that you want to borrow.
You don't, but you don't have Paramount Plus, do you?
No, but the other ones I do.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
like HBO Max.
I have HBO Max.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a Netflix account from a family member.
Got it.
So anyway, I've made it. So I've decided I'm going to keep Disney Plus, and so that way I'll have access to Paramount Plus because we're going to, trade passwords.
Isn't that new? Isn't that kids Star Trek thing coming out soon?
Yeah, Prodigy. Yeah, that's coming out soon. That looks interesting. It looks well. It's I think it's going to be on Nickelodeon before it goes to Paramount Plus.
Oh,
so.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I was going to say they're really not putting that to Paramount Plus before they put it to Nickelodeon.
No, I don't think so. So I'm going to watch. Smart. I'm looking forward to those this year. Do you know anybody who's gone to see No Time to Die?
No.
No, you neither.
Ivan, you?
No. Ivan, did you see the James Bond movie?
No, didn't see it either.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I guess it's just meh. It's at the theater.
Not so much meh. It's like, look, the three of us have talked
yeah, it's another Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much that. It's the do I want to go and sit in the movie theater right now with everything going on right now? Or do I want to wait until I can rent it?
Want to wait until I can watch it at home?
Or watch it for $6 at home.
Which that's pretty much what a lot of people are doing anyway. Because you know what, for the theaters to get back on track, I mean, prices are not going to go down. Let's face it. Okay. So
that's not the fault of the movie theater. They got to pay.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that's the fault of the movie theater. I'm just telling you that's the sign of the times. I mean, because
it's not even that. It's
with everything that has happened in the last 2 years, and that whole situation has changed the face of anything that
how we consume media. But I'll tell you though, I'm still planning on going to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ivan, my biggest headache with this is this, which is, do I want to spend that kind of money for 2 hours in which I'm wearing a mask the whole time? And the answer is,
you're
not really.
Yeah, you're wearing a mask. You're around.
I'm going to cut a straw hole in my mask so I can sip my cola while I'm watching the movie.
Well, and see that
emergency induction
people that have
port.
actually done that,
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, which is that's the other part of it, which is, okay, I'm eating. Well, as long as you're quote unquote eating, you're allowed to take it off. You keep it off. So technically, you could be eating through the whole movie and take it off, and nobody's
just eating very slowly.
You think one of the, you think
you eat a chip every 400
chewing
feet.
on this nacho for the last 20 minutes.
Right. You
for every several hundred feet of film, you just notch down on something,
Right. You think any of those pimply-faced kids are going to come around and sit there and confront any of these
Excuse
people?
me, sir, you need to put a mask on.
Right. You think that's going to happen?
No.
I'll give you 5 reasons why I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. Well, that's why they're not going to get involved with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
a lot of us are just
a
lot of us are tired of.
Well, like I said,
also the thing too, you got a lot of people out there, like I'm not going to bring this person, I'm not going to put this name and shame this person, but when you have people that they haven't vaccinated, but yet they go around still visiting people. And they don't mention the fact until at the very end of the conversation. They tell you, oh, yeah, by the way, don't get the vaccination. It's no good for you. And then you're just like, thank you. Thank you for telling me that after you've had your mitts around me. You give me a hug. You make me welcome and everything. And then you tell me, oh, don't get the vaccination. I mean,
well, it's their choice. If they want it, fine. But
Yeah, but if you don't want to get vaccinated, keep your nasty little mitts off of me. Because
it's funny you say this because there was a gaming convention I was going to possibly go to at the end of November, and the more and more I thought about it, it's like they're insisting everybody's got to wear masks, but they're not insisting everybody needs to be vaccinated.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of sitting there, and I'm thinking about this, and it's like, I'm like, hey, and I said to one of the people who's a friend, I said, what's your policy going to be about people at tables and eating and all that stuff? And he's like, I don't know what our plans are with that. Okay. So really, in reality, I basically had to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I love you to death. I can't commit to doing this year. I can't commit to it because
that's too big a stake of my life I want to invest in. Okay, because
it's not even my life. I've got family members that.
Well, I do too. Right. I got my mom. My mom's 87 years old. I got a daughter that's 22. I've got my friends all around me and everything. Excuse me, but you can't just come up over here, visit, don't say shit about your condition, and then tell me not to get vaccinated. And then I'm sitting there thinking, well, why would this person say that? And then you're like, okay. And then, and she's not she's not masking and she's not vaxxed and everything. And I'm just like, holy shit. And then this person was in my mother's house, okay? and everything like that. And it's just like how can you how inconsiderate can you be about this sort of a situation? I mean,
I gotta be honest. That's one of the reasons why I hate to say it. I'm like, unless I know you're vaccinated, you're not coming in that. Unless you're wearing a mask.
Yeah, no, and you have nothing to be sorry about there, Jeff.
Oh,
Shit,
I'm not.
you know,
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm not sorry.
Like,
you know,
like,
you're asking
like
you're asking mask and vax, man. Don't be playing with my life like that. Don't play with my family's life like that.
When we went to Mike's to watch Black Widow, you know, I knew everybody was vaccinated, so I'm like, hey, I'm cool. Let's go.
Yeah, well, that's right, because I know everybody in the room with us was vaxxed, and that was not an issue
then it was
in that situation. That's one thing. But when you got one person who decides, the hell with all of it, basically saying to the rest of the world, well, the hell with all of you.
Yep.
You know, I'm sorry, no.
Well, Ray's kids weren't.
You know.
Yeah, but that's because they weren't allowed to be.
Well, they weren't allowed to be. There's a difference when you're not allowed to be vaxxed and when you have an opportunity to be vaxxed and you don't get vaxxed, okay?
Yeah, but kids can still spread germs, though, right? I mean...
Well, yeah, they can still spread germs, and they can still do this, and they can still do that.
But when you're younger, your immune system's higher.
Yeah, well, you know, you're not as prone, from my understanding of the facts. I mean, things change within the blink of an eye with this whole situation. But
that's true.
At that time, I was comfy, and everything was groovy.
Yeah.
But no one was licking doorknobs, so.
Well, no, nobody was busy, you know, running their hands across their noses and then coming up and saying, let me give you a high five, man.
So it was you, Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There's some moistness on that bathroom door.
Yeah.
You're sitting there sucking on doorknobs. Don't be sucking on doorknobs.
She said, but yeah. Anyway.
So anyway, yeah, we're talking about movie theaters and maybe going to theaters and probably not because we're comfortable just watching it at home at this point in time.
It's too bad because it's like I did see, I guess, the Ghostbusters
movie. And 2
movie
weeks after Life comes out.
Right.
And I'm like,
it was funny because I was like, I'm not seeing anything except Spider-Man. And I saw that and I'm like,
they kind of caught you by the badonga, did it?
You're going to see Spider-Man, Jeff. You'll sneak in.
I know I am.
You'll see Spider-Man. Come on.
I definitely think I'm seeing Spider-Man, but I'm sort of tempted to go see the Ghostbusters movie. I'm not going to lie. There's a part of me where I'm like, that intrigues me enough to be like, maybe I might want to go see that. Maybe I might want to go see that.
Well, you just go ahead and you get the chairs far and away from everybody, and you're good.
Well, you know what the funny part is, and this is the sad part.
What's
that?
The
sad part is.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. I got no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The sad part to me is, we're gonna have a second Marvel movie coming out, and I have no interest.
The Eternals. Yeah.
Right. I can't speak for you, Mike. I have no interest in. I
only have just a passing curiosity, but I mean, I'll wait for Shang-Chi to come out of Disney Plus, but the Eternals, I don't know, might be good. I don't know. That's
kind of what I laugh about, Mike. I kind of was going to say to you. So basically, on the 12th, we both sit down and watch Shang-Chi, and we can finally talk about Shang-Chi on the show.
Yeah. Spoilers. Yeah. Says it was in the theaters in August.
Right. Well, I mean, let's put it where it is. I mean. Yeah. You know, or I hate to say it, we'll have access to Jungle Cruise too, so I'll be curious to see what that looks like with The Rock. But, you guys okay? So, I did watch the Squid Game.
Okay, so it is fictional. It's not like a real. It's a fictional series.
It's not a reality.
It's not. It's fake reality. When I heard about the violence, I'm like, okay, it's fake.
Right. No, I didn't know either.
I had no clue what this thing is.
Right. So
it's facetious.
No, it's not facetious. It's just fictional. That's all.
Yeah, it's fictitious.
It's fictitious.
That's the word you're looking for. Fictitious, not facetious.
Facetious.
Kind of like that Marinated of animation.
Marinated facetiousness.
Yeah.
Marinated facetiousness.
There you go. There's the title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but So I did, and it's funny. I really wasn't planning on watching it, But ironically, my 80-year-old mom was, I'm hearing things about it. We should watch it. Okay.
Sometimes mom does have,
Well, here's the best part.
How many episodes? First of all, how many episodes? How many episodes did you watch?
All of them.
You watched the whole season?
I watched the whole season. There's
only
9.
Right.
There's only 9. I wasn't planning on watching them that fast, but
it sucked you in.
It was interesting. It was intriguing enough, and in fairness, as soon as the Bears decided not to play football on Sunday,
God,
I figured I had plenty of time. I had plenty of time to watch something else.
It was like a high school game.
No, high school called and said they have a shot to win.
Is that the same as a fart in the wind? It stinks for a while and then it goes away?
Yeah.
No, this stink didn't go away for a while.
Yeah, it's more like a giant green cloud that lingers.
Yeah.
And
the fans are like, nowhere to go but up from here.
No, there really isn't. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. Nowhere to go but up. No, we can go a lot lower. You really.
No, you can sink down deeper.
Yeah, that's the point.
So anyway, you watched Squid Games.
So I did watch it, and I'll be honest. Again, like I said, I had no interest. I wasn't planning on watching it. This wasn't something that I was finding that I was looking into. And I will tell you, in the first episode, I'm watching this, and I'm like, why is everybody saying that this is any good? And I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, this is boring. And it's so funny. I'm like, I'm watching the first episode, and literally I'm like sitting there and I'm like, yeah, exactly. I kind of am. And so you get about 75% of the way in. And then all hell breaks loose.
All hell breaks loose, huh?
All hell breaks loose. And you're like, oh, shit. It's like, and it was funny because, of course, my mom fell asleep and missed the oh, shit stuff, which was hysterical.
It gave you a long draw to get to the point, huh?
It gets to the point fast at that point.
Okay.
I feel like I can talk about this a little bit because it won't spoil it too bad. So all these people are horribly, horribly in debt, or have something going on in their lives. Where in the
sounds
end,
like my life. There you go.
No, beyond your life. I mean, when I say horribly, I mean like some of these people sound they're like millions in debt.
Oh shit! Like
millions, or hundreds of thousands in debt.
So they got nothing to lose.
They really they start out. There's 456 of them. Okay, and the first game they're gonna and the way they explain it is, and I can't remember exactly the exact numbers on it, but at the end of the day, it turns out to be where it's like the more people die, it turns into a certain amount of billions of dollars. And in the end, if everybody dies and there's only one winner, there's going to be like $45 billion to the winner.
$45 billion.
So the first game is, and as best as they're pretty much all children's game. The first game is red light, green light.
Oh my gosh, kids game, huh?
Right. So it's red light, green light, and of course, when it says red light, you're not supposed to move, or you'll be eliminated. The trick about elimination is, when they say eliminated, you're permanently, like, fatality eliminated.
Oh, you're killed. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like, the machine guns start firing. And, like I said, it's one of those where it's like, you're literally...
It's like a huge shot of the Valentine's Day Massacre all in one shot.
It's the Running Man, sort of, almost?
The best way I can put it is...
Hunger Games, kind of?
Yeah, Hunger Games, kind of.
Hunger Games.
It's got a little bit of Hunger Games to it.
Yeah.
But the stylizations are unique. The conversations are interesting. it definitely, they do a good job to create characters, and you know, is it perfect? No. Is it answer all the questions? No. Are there holes in some of the shit that's going on? Yes. Are there some things that go on unanswered? Yes. But I found it it was worth watching. I enjoyed it. It was certainly interesting and different and something unique. The most amusing part is, so I have because of course it's Korean. It's from Korea.
So it's all in subtitles.
Well, so here's the interesting, no, it's not. So
it's in English?
It's dubbed over in English.
Oh, it's dubbed, okay.
So here's the fun part. The subtitles that we get in English don't always match the English dub.
Okay. That's been known to happen.
Right. Which is amusing because it's like sometimes when you listen to the English dub versus what you read on the screen is very different in the context of what they're trying to do or trying to say. So there's a part of me where I was like you, Ivan, kind of laughing about the whole time, like, the dubs don't match the words.
sounds like some bad anime dubbage.
It's not even bad anime dubbage because it's not like they're speaking and it's not connecting with the voice. It's just
the words don't match at all.
The best way to explain it is it's like playing telephone, which is the audio says this, the words on the screen say this.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's a kind of a disparity between the two. So that was kind of amusing. The other thing that was amusing was, so I get to, because I had nothing better to do that night, so I'm watching it. I got to like the 4th episode. I'm like, after the 4th episode, I'm going to bed. And of course, the 4th episode has the cliffhanger ending.
Okay.
And I'm like, you fuckers, now I'm not going to go to sleep. And I know how this is going to go, because I'm literally like, I'm going to go to bed right after this. And I'm like, nope. I will never be able to get to sleep
just
without
one
knowing
more
what the
episode.
hell. Yeah, I'm like, all right,
just one more. Just one more.
It's like so funny because I'm like dying halfway through. Because I could have stopped the episode after that game, and it's like, but of course I don't. But of course I don't. I finish out the whole episode, and then I'm like, I'm so tired. but I thought you'd get kicked out because literally I was like, I'm going to end here. Apparently, I'm not going to end here. I'll never get any sleep. And the best is, it's the only time in the entire series they do that. And I'm like, y'all are it's like somebody knew, okay, they're going to binge up to about episode 4, and then want to, like, go to sleep or walk away. So we're going to put this cliffhanger here to make them have to stick around at least through episode 5. I'm like, you're a bunch of dicks.
the hook will bring you back.
Yeah.
So you watched the whole season and you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it. It was, is it the wow that everybody's talking about? I don't know. I'm not positive that I'll go that far. The thing is, it's stylized. It has some uniqueness. There's definitely some interesting twists. There is some stuff that makes it a little bit different. Again, the part where the dubbing doesn't match the vocals is kind of fun too. There's the ways that they kill people is horrifying yet amusing all in one.
Okay.
At the same, like I said, like literally, I know this red light, green light thing, and like literally, it's like any movement and boom, goodbye. And of course, at that point, people panic and run for the doors. You can take a wild guess that basically, like, half the people die in the first game, right off the bat. So, like I said, they do a good job of creating a couple of characters, some interesting characters here and there. I was a little surprised by some things that happened in the end. There's certainly a twist at the end that I didn't see coming. There's certainly some opportunity to do a season 2. Although it was funny, I was reading something from the person who created it, who says he's busy going to be working on movies and stuff, and he doesn't know if and when he's going to get to a season 2. But my guess is he'll get to a season 2 because Netflix will make him do it.
Netflix knows how to make monies.
Yeah, exactly. But
there's a lot of crappy Netflix series out there too. There's a lot of original content on Netflix that's absolute garbage.
Yeah, but I can see where the buzz is on this. I mean, it has how do I put this? It definitely has a Mortal Kombat-ish fatality concept to it.
Where people are dying in nasty, strange ways, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of it's brutal. I mean, just evil, either evil or brutal or sadistic or just, it's just a game and it's fun. Okay, this is our lives kind of thing. It's fascinating in that way. And so, yeah, like I said, it was an interesting watch. I did catch the final episode of Titans, too. And at least they're leaving Gotham, thank God.
Yeah, I saw your notes that you posted on your Facebook page, and yeah, at least they've alleviated a lot of things a lot of problems you had with this season.
Yeah, I'm curious. They have a green light for season 4.
Yeah, they announced that at Fandom, yeah.
Right, they have a green light for season 4. They really need to sit down and get their shit together. This was a season of all kinds of moving parts, and I don't think that in some ways I don't know. I don't know if it's they don't understand how to write a team or they are doing certain things because of production costs. Somebody said COVID. I don't know if I buy all that, but, there's certain things where we don't see certain things that happen. And sometimes they try to explain them away as, well, they're still young and they're still learning their abilities and all these things. It's like, it's season 3.
You would think they would have done all that by season 1 or 2.
Right. Well, some of the stuff that they've done with Dick Grayson this season, it's almost as if this is I get it now, I understand now it's like bullshit. This should have been stuff that some of this is stuff that I thought we already went through in season 2. Why are you doing this now again in season 3? I mean, here's the irony, Ivan. If they could get the writing teams from the kids show to be the writers for this show, it would be a lot better.
Well, there you go.
It'd be a lot better.
Well, I mean,
but do you think that they would go with an individualistic writing style for each character, or are they just going to do an overall with just several people?
Well, I said there were several multiple storylines going on at the same time.
Right.
You said. So
right, and the problem, the real problem is that it's funny because even in the end, seriously, the only time that the team is actually fully together as a group, as a full-on team, is rare. Like, that first episode that you saw, Mike, is one of the few times they're together as a full group.
Yeah, same thing like at the end of season 2 where they finally fought at the carnival just before Donna Troy dies.
Well, my favorite is even in the finale of season 3, they're in 2 groups. They're in 2 groups where group 1 is this and group 2 is like it's one group is Nightwing, Red Hood, Beast Boy, and Tim Drake, and the other group is like Superboy, Starfire, Blackfire, Wonder Girl, Raven. Okay. They literally, even then, have them split in terms of that they're never all together at one point in even in the finale for season 3. And the irony is that, okay, like for example, I'm kind of like sitting here scratching my head. You killed Donna Troy, you brought her back from the dead, and now she's leaving again. Unless you're planning on doing some spin-off show, which is possible. I mean, the way they're talking, the way they're possibly spinning off, maybe you get a Birds of Prey show. I don't know. Which would be interesting, because maybe you bring back Dove and you pair her with Wonder Girl and you go with Barbara Gordon as Oracle, and maybe you can build a Birds of Prey show. That might be interesting.
I think that would be a good way to go, don't you?
Right, but it assumes they're going to do that. I don't know that they are.
Yeah, concurrent if they do it concurrently with season 4 of Titans.
Right, or here's the worst part. Oh, we'll do it in the season of season 4 of Titans, so that we again have another storyline that has nothing to do with. Just like in the end, is Red Hood going to be sticking around in season 4? I don't know. They're not clear on that. It sounds like he might be, but he's not going to be with the Titans. But he might be lurking around. Again, it's one of those where literally it's like at some point this shit's got to stop.
So you're still frustrated with this series, but you're still in on it. You're still invested.
I'm in on it. I'm in on it only because I do think that the actors who portray the characters do as good a job as they possibly can with the crap ass material that they get. And that's unfortunate because from what I've seen, a lot of them do a really good job with what they're doing. It's just unfortunate that, and I hate to say it again, I'll say what I said last time. Do I ever think I'm ever going to see in my lifetime a live action Titan series ever again after this one? No.
Unless there's a huge demand for it and a huge push for such a thing.
Right, I don't see it.
But then, you know what? There've been a lot of cases where things that we may have even thought might not ever happen, and then all of a sudden it becomes this shot of light. You're kind of like, oh.
Well, I laugh because to me what I think is interesting is once upon a time, the same thing about that was all along said about Titans was said about the X-Men, about, oh, nobody will understand, nobody will get it, it's not something you can put on a big screen, blah, 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 yakety schmackety, all that bullshit. Okay?
Right.
Well, guess what? The X-Men got on screen. Not only did they get on screen, they have multiple movies, and it became a huge thing, not just for Marvel, but for Fox, and became huge for them. Okay? And people were more than plenty willing to come out and see X-Men movies. Okay? To me, what I laugh about is, at one point, once upon a time, the Titans book sold as well as the X-Men book did at a time when the X-Men book was the hottest book in the world. Okay? And so to me, what I laugh about is that they have hemmed and hawed. Now, some of it is they didn't have the budget for certain things, so they didn't do it. Okay? But they've hemmed and hawed about wanting to put together some sort of live action thing for Titans. They finally have gotten around to it. This is what we're getting. We're not gonna, I don't hear anything about a movie down the road. They're not gonna, I don't think they'll do a movie down the road either. It's unfortunate because I think that they could have done a movie, but I hate to say it, and this is the sad part, I think they're more interested in putting together a Justice League Dark movie than a Titans movie. They're more interested. They're more interested and trying to figure out a way to re-resurrect the Justice League than they are a Titans movie. And they're trying to figure out how to fix their broken-ass Snyder, DC, whatever the fuck it is. And the irony is that Titans might be the answer, but instead they're gonna.
Yeah, but don't you think that by trying to, it almost seems like it's a case of trying to put all the eggs in one basket at this point, because I mean, let's face it, in the last since the 2000s, there has been a good amount of Titan style things that are out there.
Well, not really. Just Teen Titans, and then we had Teen Titans Go, and that was it.
Okay.
Now we got the series. Now we have the series that was on DC Universe. Now it's on HBO Max. Thank God, we don't have to deal with DC Universe.
Right.
But
true.
that's it.
Okay. All right. So we've got 3 cases in the last. Okay. Let's.
I'm sorry. In that Judas Contract movie.
Yeah, and the animated
one-off. So
yeah.
So we'll go. We've had 4 different. We have 4.
I think there was also a Teen Titan. There was a Titans versus the Justice League. I think it was another one.
Oh, maybe there was another
where
one.
They were like the Justice League were possessed by maybe like if it wasn't Trigon or what it was minions or whatever.
Okay, so we counted 5. So
yeah, we've had limited. Although compared to other DC content, we've had very limited exposure to Titans content.
Right. Okay.
Unless
we got the. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Unless you want to count Cyborg, because Cyborg is technically originally started.
Technically, he is a Titan, so okay.
Or started there.
But Cyborg has moved to Justice League because.
Yeah, but now they've changed everything. That's the other thing that makes me laugh is the way they did the continuity and the way they changed things. They made it where Cyborg was never a member of the Titans, which is fucking stupid.
Which is stupid. Because Cyborg started in the comics and then graduated into the films, graduated into the the movies, if you will, and such, and then just go ahead and try to continue continuity without any.
No. They changed its continuity. They changed its continuity. When they did the New 52, they kind of sort of rewrote his origin somewhat. And
well, that seems a bit jarring, considering the fact
everyone got pretty much a new treatment with the New 52. Ivan.
Right. The difference is some people's stuff stuck and other people's stuff did not. And a lot of what they did with Cyborg,
so the 52 have been recalibrated. There's the word for whatever it is that they want to do with it now, without having to resort to the previous continuities and or character builds of what the characters were previous to that.
So basically this is why, by the way, when people rave about Flashpoint, it was a great series. It was a great miniseries. It was a great, interesting thing from DC. But it also led to them rebooting their entire continuity for pretty much everything, for the most part, across the board. And that, some things worked, some things didn't.
It's almost as though they just go ahead, okay, with the 52, let's just throw the coins up in the air and let them fall where they may.
No, they had a plan. They did have a plan. The problem was certain things worked and certain things didn't. That's just the best way I can explain it.
And I get you. I get you, Jeff. Okay, and that's what's to be expected when you recalibrate so many characters in the shot. You're talking 52. That's a lot of universe. That's a whole lot of universe you're moving there. Okay, and especially if you start breaking it down to the individualistic characters, and everything that was happening for that, because like you stated, yeah, DC. Am I correct to say that DC right now is kind of broken? Whereas
so the irony is that they came back in And they, God, see, this is an example of why I don't read anymore. So they came back in and they kind of sort of fixed it, but they didn't. Some things they kept, some things they didn't. I don't even know where continuity really is or isn't at the moment.
Okay, but
you know, and so I can't fully answer your question. I know they were planning on doing some stuff where they were planning on, there was a real called 5G, that did not get off the ground, that some people thought it was a great idea. And again, we don't know a lot about it. This is just what we've heard. Some people thought it was a great idea.
Okay.
Some people said it was a great idea. Some people were like, this is the worst thing ever. This is a really bad idea. But that didn't happen because they got rid of their executive, their person who was in charge of comics. And honestly, right now, I don't know exactly what's going on. And I wonder and I'm not positive that some of the answer to that question isn't that they're still waiting on answers. Because keep in mind, there's that merger that happened between Warner Brothers and Discovery. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these aspects are moving to Discovery. So we'll see what that means for the comic book stuff.
Yeah, but then, okay, you're talking about Discovery. All right? What's Discovery known for? Okay?
Their space shuttle?
Okay, well, besides
Janeway?
No, but I'm talking about Discovery Channel. And, you know,
Discovery Channel.
When I think of Discovery Channel, I think of all things, you know, worldly, and I'm going to places, and I'm traveling, and I don't see how.
I'm a traveler.
Well, the point being,
I'm going to Discovery, and in the animated universe, which is more befitting maybe some other streams.
The point being is,
I would say Discovery.
Well, but here's the thing. You know, AT&T, I think, is still part of this, but I don't understand all of it about what they did or didn't sell. But AT&T wants to be in the content business, but they don't really understand the content business, and they don't want to have to think about it.
So they just import it.
So, no, they didn't import it, but I'd have to reread it. I'm not fully up on what's going on with them and Discovery and how they're making this work and what that agreement looks like. But that's a lot of it, which is the truth is, Ivan, there's a lot more positive to Discovery than there is about if it was going to stay with AT&T.
I see. Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be great. It just means
doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad either.
Right, and it's kind of amusing because I'm still trying to figure out certain things like, does that mean... Because right now, AT&T, as part of their deal, gives HBO Max as part of if you have mobile with them or something. And I'm curious if that's going to still be a thing. I think it is, but I don't know. And by the way...
It remains to be seen.
Right, and in the meantime, it's kind of funny because there's rumblings that Discovery wants to change the name of HBO Max because they don't like the name. That they may change the name, which I kind of laugh because it's like, you've got enough branding and you've gotten enough people to watch it. Now you're going to change the name again. That's kind of stupid.
Okay.
That's kind of stupid. I get that you may not like the name, but it's like, really? I think you've kind of gone... I mean, it's different. Like the CBS All Access thing, they weren't a big player, so they could rebrand under Paramount Plus. But HBO Max is one of the bigger ones now, thanks to, ironically, the move that they made was okay, during COVID, we're going to put top line movies on because we didn't have any content. We didn't have enough content anyway. And it's helping them sell HBO Max to no end. By the way, Cyborg, FYI, Cyborg in the Doom Patrol is far better than Cyborg in the movies. Far better.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, also has no problem saying the word booyah.
Yeah, they wanted him to say it in the Justice League film. Just for the nod to the Teen Titans fans.
Yeah, we didn't want him to do it, and it's funny because Snyder was like, my Cyborg would never say booyah. And I'm like, you need to get your stick out of your ass. Man.
Okay, so we got anything else?
I can't.
Any news this week we want to discuss?
Did you catch any? I didn't catch all the trailers that I saw that came over this week, but I did catch the one for Red Notice for Netflix.
Oh, the Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot.
And The Rock.
And Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
I feel like
Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Johnson, Dwayne the Rock.
Is it bad when I sit there and go, this trailer's missing Kevin Hart?
Well, not every. He was busy that week, so
apparently.
Yeah, Dwayne can't. Kevin can't always be in Dwayne Johnson's duffel bag when he travels.
I feel like there's two things missing, like that, and it's like some sort of female sidekick for Gal Gadot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to think, like Kate McKinnon. Like, Kate McKinnon would be a good example of, like, the right kind of person to put with, like, Gal Gadot. Although they can't do it because she just played Cheeto. That would be weird. But that kind of person. Like, I don't know, maybe Melissa McCarthy. That could work. I feel like those are, like, they're missing those two kind of characters based on the trailer to, like, kind of balance things out a little bit more. But it's interesting. I'll probably give it a watch. I was amused.
Cool.
I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh! Do either you... I don't remember. Do either of you guys have Prime or no?
Amazon, I have access to it, but I've not been on... I've been watching a lot. Last thing I watched was that Chris Pratt movie, The Tomorrow War. Yeah, I watched that. But I've not been on Amazon, no.
So...
Did you finish The Boys?
Oh, I finished The Boys a long time ago.
Okay, yeah. Because they're on I know the next season is coming, so...
Is it? I haven't heard a thing about those.
I think I think they dropped a teaser at San Diego, or it was New York. No, it was New York Comic Con. They dropped some
Did they really?
teaser footage for a new season, yeah.
Okay. I must have missed it.
Okay.
But, so, there was a trailer that dropped, and I think, Ivan, you'll get it. You might be interested in this, too. So, Aaron Sorkin is has a new movie dropping, and it's called Meet the Ricardos.
Oh, about Lucy and Ricky Ricardo?
Yeah, and it's Nicole Kidman playing Lucille Ball, and Javier Bardem playing Ricky Ricardo.
So it's a continuation of the old TV show?
No, it's kind of like it's kind of like a behind the scenes of how they of all that kind of
how they came together with the creating of I Love Lucy, how they got together.
Stuff. Right.
Okay, so it's a what you call it? It's a movie about how they made the show. Okay.
It's kind of like a biopic kind of thing.
Okay, just with Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's a trailer that was out last week, and Nicole Kidman nails Lucille Ball, just nails it. And it looks spectacular. And it's going to theaters first in early December, and then by late December, it'll be on Amazon Prime.
Wow!
But first, it'll be in theaters, and it looks tremendous.
Will it be in color? Is it in color?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that would be the way to go with something like that. So much has been written, so much has been put out there about the whole Lucille Ball empire. Basically, the fact that Desi Arnaz was a Cuban aristocrat and trying to make it into the movies, and it comes right down to the fact that he was a bit player at MGM for a few years before, I guess he just wasn't able to make the grade, and they both met each other pretty much in the same circles because at that time Lucille Ball was making, B comedy movies. And my understanding of the story was that Ricky saw the potential in Lucille being very, very, very funny. And a lot of what happened on the I Love Lucy show, a lot of that came from the Hispanic ideal of comedy, other than, instead of the American ideal of comedy, which of course, when you think of that, you think of the Honeymooners, and you think of Uncle Milty, and you think of those type of people on television. And the fact that they did so many, not only in the writing, but in the technical aspect. I mean, if it wasn't for I Love Lucy, the 3-camera setup would have never been a reality, using film instead of kinescope, which of course back then that was basically a film camera facing a television screen and then filming it. That's what a kinescope is. They didn't want that because it looked so bad on playback. So they went and spent that extra money out of pretty much Lucille Ball's own pocket and said, well, I want 3 16-millimeter film cameras on set. And they actually built an actual set with rooms that you could go in and out of, which made up the I Love Lucy stage. It was huge. It was huge in square footage. And, the first ever to also come with that live studio audience, when they did it. And, like I said, a lot of firsts. And
for the sitcom, yeah.
First for the sitcom.
Well, yeah, then this definitely sounds like something I'd like to check out.
Right,
Yeah,
like I said, I mean, the thing to me is, you had me at Sorkin, quite frankly, but that's me.
Yeah.
You had me at hello.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
Yeah, I mean, look. For me, Aaron Sorkin fits that bill. Between the West Wing, and Sports Night, and
yes.
and I mean, to me, the Facebook movie that he did, and then the Trial of Chicago 7 was phenomenal too. His track record on creation has been great. The only thing that I can think of off the top of my head where I've ever sat there and went meh about something that Aaron Sorkin created was that Studio 60 in the Sunset Strip. And that was an interesting idea, but it wasn't, I don't know. It just didn't work. It's too bad.
I mean, was that, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Studio 60, was that kind of like a throwback to like Playhouse 90 live theatrical
No,
television?
They tried to basically. So it was. No, so basically it was. It was basically Sorkin kind of trying to do his version of a backstage version of Saturday Night Live.
Something behind the scenes of Saturday Night Live. I got it.
Right. It was kind of like if you took West Wing. But then you
went behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was similar. Was it either 1 or 2 seasons? Yeah.
Only one season of Studio 66. Studio 66.
Yeah, it was one. Yeah.
And it was interesting because there's some great people in there, like Tracy Morgan's in there, Matthew Perry's in there. It just didn't. I don't know. It didn't work, and the problem was that like they would talk about like the comedy and the skits that they would do, but we didn't usually see them, and if we did, they weren't really nearly as funny. So that was the problem. And
and I think a lot has to do too with the prevailing atmosphere of comedy today too.
No, but this was further back, Ivan. I mean.
Yeah, this was from a few years ago. Yeah.
This is a while back.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll
this was 2006.
Okay. Where we actually could.
Yeah, but it's a show. It's a story. It's a show about a show, pretty much
it's a show within a show.
Right.
Yeah. The best way to explain it is if you ever. It's kind of like sports. Basically, you kind of went back to like a sports night concept, except it was Saturday Night Live.
It was for comedy,
And the problem was, for sports night it worked. For Saturday Night Live, it didn't. Like, I mean, just to give you a perspective, one of the reasons why this show. I'm sorry, I was wrong. It wasn't Tracy Morgan. It was D.L. Hughley. I mean, and that's the other thing. The cast.
D.L. Hughley.
Mm-hmm.
D.L. Hughley.
Wow. Now, there's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Well, so, I mean, just for perspective, this is who the cast was. And people thought this was going to be... People really thought this show was going to take off because it's Bradley Whitford, Matthew Perry, Amanda Peet, Sarah Paulson, Steve Weber, D.L. Hughley, Timothy Busley, and I'm looking just to see who else. Columbus Short was in this.
Timothy Busley or Busfield?
Busfield. The guy from 30-something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who was the West Wing regular.
Right.
You know, the guy, Steve Weber, who was from Wings. Sarah Paulson, this was kind of one of her bigger spots, and then later on, she's done a lot more. Yeah, I mean, it's only one season, and it's funny because late in the season they got better, but by that point, a lot of people had dropped off, and they were like, no, not happening. It's the only time I'm aware of. Well, and Newsroom. Obviously, he did Newsroom, which was great too on HBO.
So this Desi and Lucy series sounds good. So I
mean, you know, to be said, you know, I mean, 1 out of 20 production items. I mean, that's a pretty good. That's a respectable record. I mean, you know, of consistently good things. I mean, you're lucky, you know. I mean, especially during these times. I mean, you know, gone are the Norman Lears and, you know, people like that who consistently come up with things one right after the other, you know, which...
Well, it's funny because Sorkin... So after Newsroom, Sorkin decided he was just going to do film. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate because Sorkin makes such good TV. And so basically, I think his first film was that Facebook movie, The Social Network. I think that was his first.
I remember that movie.
And then he did Molly's Game, which was vastly underrated and really good. And then Trial of Chicago 7, which was on Netflix last year.
I never saw it, but I heard a lot of things about it, though. That I heard it was like really
what's his name from Borat was phenomenal in there.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, he was great. He's great in that movie. That's a great movie if you haven't seen it. That Trial of Chicago 7.
I have to, you know, dip my toe in it.
And it has enough humor in it that it'll make you laugh too. So it's not. Okay, it's one of those movies where it's like it's a dramatic movie, but there's enough humor in it it'll make you laugh and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, you have a nice little balance of things within the film. Which that's always good. That's always good.
So, like I said, I'm kind of excited because, you know, Sorkin's gonna get it. We're gonna see something where it's Sorkin. It's Nicole Kidman. I mean, I Love Lucy.
Yeah, I mean, you got the star power. You got the person who's gonna be behind the camera doing the groovy thing. Sounds like it's gonna be really, really good.
Well, in fairness, if it's any good at all, and Nicole Kidman is lights out, this is probably Best Actress, easy.
Okay.
Easy.
All
I
right.
mean, let's just
I'll put my money on that horse. Sure.
Did
you just call her a horse? God, you're so sexist.
He's just racing. It's like the racing form. It's like the Squid Game. He's betting on the Squid Game, except it's not that.
Right.
I'd buy that for $1.
Don't worry, Mike. You're still my horse, even though you never win. Okay.
Wow.
Hey, well, we place your show. What about you?
You don't
Nay,
win.
I say.
He knows I jest.
Nay.
Nay.
That was your pony.
Winnie!
He's your brony.
So, any other news? I did see that Peter Scolari died.
Yeah.
He was
of the Scolari brothers.
From Bosom Buddies, where Tom Hanks got his big break.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's had other bit roles. I don't know, he took over for. He was in that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series after because Rick Moranis had retired. So
is that the reason why I keep thinking of him, Rick Moranis, the same way, and even though they're not the same at all?
Right.
Even though
He played the dad. He played the Rick Moranis role in the series that ran on. It's syndicated.
So I heard Rick Moranis is back out in film again.
Yeah, he's out of retirement because his wife passed away and his kids have grown. So
I think he's actually in the new Ghostbusters movie.
We'll see.
I thought he was doing a cameo in that movie.
I don't know, maybe.
I think it might be.
But Peter Scolari did a lot of bit roles here and there. But he reunited with Tom Hanks for he had a bit role in.
Wasn't that the name of the ghosts in Ghostbusters 2? Where they're the two guys that he was going to give the chair. The Scolari brothers?
Oh, maybe.
I gave him the chair!
Yeah.
You're going to save me!
But I guess he, just like Norm Macdonald, he had, he kept it quiet. He had cancer, so very sad.
Well, you got a lot of people in the industry that they don't want the people to come to the movies or watch the television knowing that at any time something could happen. It's kind of a sense of pride when it comes to entertainers, that they try real hard not to let those types of things get out there. It was just like many years ago when a lot of actors and actresses didn't even mention that they were married because they said that would ruin the draw for certain actors and actresses, So yeah.
She getting married. Married.
So that being said, and then when you find out that they're gone, and you're just like, damn, I had no idea, that they were that far along in whatever it is that they were fighting or suffering with. It's I only hope that I could ceremoniously have a career, whatever it is I'm doing and everything, and not, have the world.
Are you getting married? Married.
No. Married. No,
marinated?
I'd like to get marinated. Marinated.
I thought you were an American girlfriend.
I want to get marinated facetiously. Oh, sexy girlfriend.
No, that's not what he says. Oh, the donga needs food.
The donga hungry. The donga needs food.
I'm surprised that has never been done as a remake.
Oh, you kidding? Most of the '80s movies would never. If you didn't change a thing on any of those '80s movies and try to produce them now, they would sink like stones.
You could, it's funny. We're at the wrong time frame, but what's his name would have been a good long duck dong. What's his name? Ken Jong-un. He'd have been good.
Ken Jong-un. Yes, he would have.
He'd have been great as long duck dong.
I'm so weak.
Automobile, go fuck yourself.
Oh, from 16 Candles, the one guy, yeah.
Yeah.
The exchange student.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in also. He did other films. He was in.
Yeah, he did the Gung Ho.
Gung Ho with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, where they built the car and the car fell apart on the guy.
Yeah.
And he opens up the hood, and the guy's still working in the hood.
The guy's in the there's a guy. He had to hide inside the engine compartment. Right?
He's still in the engine compartment. He's like, hi. He slams the gun. He's like, ow.
He waves hello, and then he just slams the hood on. There's a bit of racist stereotypes in that, but that's still a decent movie, I think.
Well, I mean,
Keaton was still a proven leading man back then.
Yeah. And
is that right after Mr. Mom?
Might have been about the same time, yeah.
Around the same time? It's like right
maybe afterward, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere right around that point where
it was after Mr. Mom, but before Batman.
Right, it's Michael Keaton still doing the comedy thing before.
Yeah,
Michael
he did.
Keaton
He had Night Shift and with Henry Winkler.
Brendan Fraser. He's playing a villain in the next Batgirl movie.
Yeah, that's what that just.
Yeah,
came
we
out
posted
today.
that to the Squares Round Table Facebook page. Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Which is weird because he's Cliff Steele the Robot Man in Doom Patrol, so that's gonna be weird.
I mean, you're talking about some of these people that we've seen come in and out of all these movies, and some of them they lock right in. Some of them they lock right in to their roles, and then some of them you can't unsee them.
Well, we've had Mark Hamill do multiple DC characters.
I guess it's just weird because it's like he's literally playing in a live-action DC show right now, a DC character. And it's possible by the time that thing goes into production, though, maybe. No, because Doom Patrol's greenlit for another season, too.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know. He's great. By the way, he's great in that show. He really is. He's hysterical in that show. In Doom Patrol. He really is. Literally, I guess he's having a bout of Parkinson's. So literally, he's trying. I don't know. He took too much. Rather than taking it normally, he swallowed down an entire thing of pills, and he's literally has like 3 screens going where he's like playing poker. He's got like a online stripper on one, and I can't remember what he's got on the other.
Oh my god!
He's literally. And he starts going on eBay and selling everything they own just so he can have more money. Like literally, I think one of the things he sold at one point was like, I can't remember, it was a lunch or a date with Cyborg. It was so funny. They do stuff on that show where you're just like, literally,
you're like, damn,
it's ridiculous. Yeah, right. It's that type of humor.
Just like the thing that they have to stop this season is called the eternal flatulation.
Yeah, the giant fart that will destroy the earth. Right?
Yeah, that will destroy the world.
I think that would be
that show work,
even Doctor Who fans be all like, that is whack.
I know, seriously. Well, I never watched Doctor Who, but literally.
There's some crazy shit in that too.
I've watched some Doctor Who, not consistently, but I've watched some. Yeah.
But yeah, so Brendan Fraser, I guess, is playing a villain, but they haven't. I think they haven't officially named what villain it is. And then what's his name's coming back to play Anakin or Darth Vader.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen will be back. Will be to play Anakin, or maybe it might be in flashbacks, or if it's Darth Vader himself in the Ahsoka series. So,
is he gonna be whiny?
I don't think so.
Whiny? Is he gonna be whiny, Anakin?
I don't think so.
Is he gonna be?
He's not gonna have that little. He's not gonna have the buzz cut. He's gonna have the long Revenge of the Sith hair. So.
Revenge of the Sith hair.
Yeah.
There's a style.
You turned her against me.
Excuse me, I'm here. Excuse me, it's barbershop. Can I get a Return of the Sith hair?
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith hair cut thing. Return of the Nerds. I don't know.
It's kind of like Return of the Man.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's about.
Yeah, and then of course I don't want to get into the Alec Baldwin shit, man. It's a terrible tragedy.
Alan Baldwin shit?
Alec Baldwin. Yeah,
Alec Baldwin, that's what I said.
Yeah, don't want to. It's a terrible tragedy. Until we know more about the investigation, it's a sad situation. So.
Okay, well we'll leave that. We'll file that away.
Yeah.
So.
Got anything else, Jeff? Where are you gonna? Are you? You said you're not gaming at all. You still online gaming, Jeff? You doing your Star Wars?
I'm supposed to do some maybe the first week of November. It's kind of weird. The group I'm regularly playing with, there's some weird stuff going on where it's like we should support in-person gaming, and if we're going to support in-person gaming, then we shouldn't have virtual gaming at the same time. And it's like, or the same month, and it's like, this is bullshit.
Why not?
Some people are still uncomfortable with the meeting in person.
Well, they should have the virtual gaming going, and if you got enough chutzpahs to be there in person, well, that should be just one's own choice.
Well, the point being is that they don't want it. They feel that one detriments from the other, which is stupid.
Okay.
And some of it's about resources and all that other stuff too. Or
if you got two separate things going on at the same time, it can turn into a big cluster.
Well, even if they want to have something at two different times in the month, it's like, again, it's part of the. It just starts to become politicalized, and it's unfortunate. It really is, because really they haven't run an online game since sometime in midsummer. So
it's probably been over a year now.
No, it hasn't been a year. It's been about 2-3 months, but yeah.
Oh, this year. I thought maybe you were.
Yeah, this year. Oh no. As soon as all of the conventions started hitting, everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna do the live conventions." Okay.
I know a few people who went to TFCon in Baltimore, and it was mask required, and it seemed pretty spread out, so it helped with the crowds.
It's funny.
And they did limit walk-ins.
Speaking of TFCon, I saw you posting about 2022 in October.
Yeah, because we were going to have TFCon in the fall 2020, but that didn't happen here in Chicago. So just like in their typical fashion, like in 2014, 16, 18, and what they didn't get in 20. So TFCon will be back in Chicago in October of next year. So yay!
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, so get your ass over to the hotel.
So I know.
I will get my ass over to the hotel.
Get Zespi with his wad.
His roll.
Yeah, that's right. So that's cool.
I know there was a big convention for comics over the weekend in Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore Comic-Con was that weekend, same weekend too, yeah.
Right, and I know that there was technically what is the comic book industry awards for the Ringos. I did not check to see who was up for what and who won, although I will congratulate my buddy John Suntress because apparently he was one of the hosts for the Ringos, which is really pretty cool. And it's funny, he's probably just getting back into town, so I'm curious to ask him about what things look like out at that convention in Baltimore, because he wasn't planning on going to a live convention this year, but the money was right and the money was good. So, like I said, so I'm curious because, like I said, there's people who are going and they have no problem with going to these conventions and doing this stuff, and there's other people who are like, yeah, no thanks.
I'll be at Stern Pinball at the West End on the 30th. I'll be over there
this Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday I will be
at
the West End. I will be at the Stern Pinball.
The West End. Which West End? There's more than one.
There's lots of them.
Well, was it?
I can't remember.
Well, no, I know it's.
We know how to get there. We just can't remember which.
Yeah, I know. I know it's. I know.
All right, well, I'll just start hitting West Ends in the area until I find the one that
Ivan's don't go to the East End.
No, it's just north of Dundee Road.
Is that the one in Wheeling? Maybe it is. Hello.
He's coming back. Yep.
I'm back.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I got booted for some reason. Okay. I'm back.
Your microphone, according to me, is shut off.
Nope. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Nope.
It's all good.
I see it.
Yay.
He's good.
So you'll be at a Westin somewhere in Chicagoland. We'll find.
I'll be at Western in Wheeling.
Western Wheeling. Okay, that's the one. Okay.
I'll be at the Westin.
Westin and Wheeling.
In Wheeling.
That's really great.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun too.
The wheels on the bus.
We're really going to have a ball. Yeah, we're just going to, I'm going to be on wheels someday.
Have you the wing?
Yes, I have the wing. I'll be at the corner of the large exhibition hall. And, I'll be we're doing a costume party, which is going to be really cool.
You got your costume ready?
Not yet.
Oh, you're running out of time.
He's going as a Puerto Rican DJ.
Oh, well, no, actually on Sunday, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to be Edna Turnblatt, and Soraya's going to be Tracy Turnblatt, and we're going to be performing down at Kohl's on Sunday for Halloween.
Who's Turnblatt?
From Hairspray?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. That's been
a long time already. It's like I was like Turnblatt. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, okay, fine.
So you're gonna be the John Travolta character?
No, I'm gonna be the original Divine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean the new Hairspray. I have really no affinity.
You're not gonna be the John Panette version?
I love the new one.
Give me the John Waters. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna carve my pumpkin over the weekend because I'm gonna cut my eat my pumpkin seeds.
Are you gonna eat your pumpkin seeds again this year?
No. Yeah, I'm gonna I love.
Yeah, you do this. You do that every year.
Seeds.
I
love the pumpkin seeds.
Scoop out the pumpkin and you eat the pumpkin and you bake the pumpkin.
Yeah,
seeds.
I guess the Great Pumpkin was on PBS Kids yesterday. I missed it.
Yeah.
So.
Don't feel bad. I did too. Totally flew right past me. Yeah. I was like, damn.
But I did remember. I put on Disney Plus. I watched Toy Story of Terror. I like that one. So yeah, Halloween is this weekend. So congratulations to the trick or treaters. We'll see how many we get.
Here's the good news. On Monday, more importantly, to all our listeners, Candy is half price on November 1st.
That's right. I'll have to hit the store before we record this next week.
Oh yeah, we gotta go ahead and eat our weight in Three Musketeer bars, Snicker bars, and Milky Ways, and Twix.
I've been eating refrigerated Kit Kats lately.
Have you?
Huh?
Yeah, I've been on a Kit Kat kick lately.
Refrigerated Kit Kats are good.
Yeah.
Just like most any candy bar once you refrigerate.
No, like 100 grand bars, they're too tough. They're too solid. The caramel's too solid. Those got to be room temperature.
I like doing that with the Three Musketeer bars and the Milky Way Midnight bars. Because when you bite into the chocolate, they just snap.
The Milky Way Midnight bar.
What is that, like dark chocolate, or what is that?
Yes, it's dark chocolate, and it's got a different type of nougat in it. I think it's got caramel in it.
Yeah, Milky Way does have caramel.
Yeah, but it's got a different type of flavor of caramel in there.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's I'm nuts about them, and they're getting harder and harder to find too. The midnight Milky Ways.
Maybe you should take the midnight train to Georgia to go find it.
Or the last train to Georgia. Last train to Clarksville.
Or the last train to Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's it, I guess. We done?
Well, that's it. We quit. We got to split. Okay.
Make way for the next day.
It's been fun, but we're going to run. Tell us where they can find us, Mike.
Run on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. You're on YouTube as well. Click the bell. You can subscribe and when you get new content. You can download the show on your usual podcast hosting platforms, iTunes, Google, Spotify, anchor.fm/SOTRT if you want to type in that URL like an old school computer hacker dude. Follow us on Facebook for the articles and memes and funny shit. Jive Ivan is on Twitch at Java and Ivan. Follow him on Facebook as the Ivan's Jive Tribe. That's a group. I like that funny memes and inappropriate humor.
Yeah, I saw you that. I'm glad you're enjoying that. Seems like a lot of people have enjoyed, imbibing on that page there. And really happy to come down.
Jeff is everywhere at Steinamite Productions.
Yes.
Follow him on all the social medias and places and platforms. And email us if you like, sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. And thanks to all the people who stopped in and listened on Clubhouse.
Yes, so we appreciate you. And thank you for everybody for coming down here to the Squares of the Round Table podcast here on Dynamite Productions on Clubhouse.
Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone. They're coming to get you, Ivan.
Frankenberry. Blueberry.
Very, very scary.
My Count Chocula cereal.
Good night, children.